So welcome to the first part of session 4. And in this session, we're going to be learning to be with what we find to be difficult. Now this is a specific application of mindfulness to some of the more challenging areas of our lives. However, unpleasant thoughts, unpleasant feelings, unpleasant sensations are all a part of the normal human experience. So it would seem a bit odd if we left them out from mindfulness. These experiences actually form part of the full experience of being human. What we're going to be learning to do is to safely welcome them, to notice them, and then to let them go. So mindfulness in this context means meeting these experiences with an open awareness. We're not trying to push them away. We're not judging them in any way. We're just observing them. So this session, we're going to be doing some practices that would help you to build tolerance in this respect, that will help you to be with the unpleasant sides of life without being overwhelmed by it, or try to push it away or shut it down or ignore it or whatever. What you'll be doing is you're going to learn to invite and encounter a range of feelings and sensations which can be unpleasant or pleasant, or however they are is however they are. And we're going to learn to, first of all, to label them, secondly, to observe them, and thirdly, to just release them and let them go. So let's move into this session. And we'll start with our usual awareness of what exactly do we mean by mindfulness. And the definition we've been using during these sessions has been mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in a present moment and in a non-judgmental way. And we've isolated 3 important elements in this definition: the paying attention part, the present moment part, and being non-judgmental. So let's move on and see how we might apply this to the unpleasant side of life. So tolerance. Now this is a response to what's going on both internally and externally in our life. And tolerance is the capacity and ability, a strength of mind, to encounter pain, to encounter hardship or adversity in our lives, and not be so upset or distracted by it. So we're bringing to attention these feelings mindfully, and our goal during these practices is actually to build this tolerance for the unpleasant, for the difficult aspects of our lives. And we're going to explore mindfully the kinds of emotions that we experience when we encounter something we find unpleasant. And the aim is to avoid being hijacked by difficult or unpleasant experiences. That when we encounter them, we manage to maintain our personal boundaries. We maintain a certain level of comfort and safety. So what we're going to be doing is engaging in practices that connect us with our difficult feelings. Now, as a preamble to the actual practices themselves, let's have a quick look at what we mean by this. If you look at the image here, we can have a judgment that, oh my God, it's bad weather, whereas the observation is simply that it's snowing. And we're going to be exploring how judgment can become an obstacle to dealing with difficulties. That often we form opinions and of what's happening very quickly and almost automatically in our minds without really thinking about them. We do this both with external events and also our internal experiences, and we judge them in such a way that we actually don't really think about them at all. In fact, we're very much working on automatic, which may or may not be appropriate to the actual circumstances we're dealing with. So one of the things we're going to be doing is saying out loud what our judgments are in certain situations, because by saying them out loud, we can actually reveal them for how they've reduced a situation down to its basic minimum, or how we've avoided something, or what we're doing with a situation which we may not otherwise be aware of. Now, judgment can be helpful. They offer a way of quickly dealing with situations. The problem is that they don't offer much help when it comes to dealing with the feelings that actually arise because of the situations we're in. And they can actually get in the way of a positive interaction with the situation. So mindfulness practice, as we remember from our definitions, is we're moving towards a non-judgmental acceptance of whatever we're experiencing, whether it's internal or it's external. This allows us a time, a moment to observe and accept the thoughts and emotions and surroundings that we find ourselves with. And it helps reduce the harmful impact of these experiences, and can, as we practice it regularly, enhance our overall sense of well-being. So, enough talking, let's move into a practice on this. And this is our first practice of this session. As usual, make sure you're ready for this by giving it your full attention. The practice is to grow in awareness of problems without rushing to fix them. What we find is that automatic judgments lead to hasty solutions. So in this practice, we're going to be emphasizing patience, observation, and acceptance of situations that we find ourselves in without rushing towards a quick fix. Now, you may find that having a non-judgmental open awareness sounds a bit passive. But this practice helps us to reduce a problem to a simple fact. And it can free us from the difficulty of unnecessary reactions, and in fact in the difficulty of doing unnecessary work that we never needed to do in the first place. So, assuming you're ready to start, sit in an upright position in your chair with your knees 2 to 3 inches above the level of your hips. Get your feet flat on the floor. You can rest your hands on your lap without interlacing your fingers. If you want to, feel free to close your eyes, and if not, just gaze softly downward toward the floor. And without changing it, become aware of your breath as it rolls in and rolls out. So in this practice, we're going to be witnessing something challenging to us without rushing to try and fix it. So, bring to mind something, a problem, nothing too heavy, nothing too traumatic, that you're trying to solve at the moment. It could be a home problem, a work problem, whatever, doesn't really matter. Just bring that problem to your awareness and just continue to breathe in a normal way. Now take a few moments to just notice the issue itself, not just your thoughts about it. And to help you do that, just observe who else is involved. Where is it taking place? What, if anything, has already happened? And what's its current situation? And notice any discomfort you may have around this issue. And bring to attention in particular any body sensations, any emotions you have around this problem. And identify any feelings you have, such as fear, insecurity. Perhaps it's painful. Maybe there's grief involved, or a desire for something else. And notice where exactly in your body do you feel this? Where do you sense this discomfort? And give it a name. And look at the issue with gentle awareness. Just be with that discomfort without trying to do anything about it. Observe where the mind wants to fix the discomfort by naming it fixing. And during this process, just meet your experience with great patience. You may wish to push it away, you may wish to do something with it, you may wish to solve the problem, but for now, we're just being with it. And if you like, you can offer some mindfulness phrases which might help with that process, such as, I see this discomfort. My mind wants to fix it. May I be with this problem. And offer yourself a suggestion. Ask yourself what can be done, and offer the simplest solution possible without diving deeply into the problem and the issues around it. Now, take a breath and just let this problem go. And bring your awareness back to your breathing. As it rolls into your body, pauses for a moment, rolls out again, pauses for a moment before coming in again. And that brings to an end this particular practice. So become aware of your feet on the floor and the chair that you're sitting in. You may want to wiggle your fingers and take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And if your eyes are closed, open them when you're ready and become aware of your environment. Okay, so let's reflect on what that experience of looking at problems without trying to fix them was like. Describe how it felt to simply sit with a problem, to sit with it mindfully and resisting that urge to try and do something about it. And where in your body did the problem bring up sensations? And how does this problem feel or seem now? So you may want to pause the video now and just ponder these, or you can even journal your answers to this if you wish to. And when you're ready, we can move on to the next part of this session. Okay, resistance. This is another thing which can challenge us when we're putting into practice mindfulness. We have a habit of pushing against things we don't really like, which is perfectly understandable, and we just say no to them. We refuse to engage with them, refuse to do things or whatever. And there are several reasons why we may do this. It may be we're trying to avoid pain or unpleasantness. Perhaps we're simply trying to avoid being overwhelmed by the situation. Perhaps it's our way of staying in control. Perhaps it's a coping mechanism we learned from early in our lives. And it's a way of telling ourselves something different about the story than the way it really is. So during this next practice, which is coming up, we're going to have the goal of exploring the feeling of non-acceptance of emotions in our bodies and try to get an understanding of how that resistance actually affects us. So in order to do this in the exercise, what we'd like you to do is bring to mind something that's bothering you or worrying you. It can be in the past, it can be something that's currently happening, or it may be something in the future that you're anxious about. And ideally, you're going to choose an emotional experience which is unpleasant, but not highly reactive, not too traumatic or overwhelming for you. So when you're ready, we'll move on to the next practice, which is playing with resistance and seeing what it feels like when we do it. So this is our next guided practice, saying no to thoughts and emotions. As usual, make sure you can give this practice your full attention. And when you're ready, sit upright in your chair with your hips 2 to 3 inches above the level of your knees. Get your feet flat on the floor. You can rest your hands on your lap without interlacing your fingers. You can close your eyes if you wish to, otherwise just gaze softly down toward the floor. And without changing it, become aware of your breath as it rolls in and rolls out. So bring the challenging scenario to mind. As mentioned, nothing too traumatic or overwhelming, but something that's strong enough to elicit certain negative emotions and whatever you may feel about it. And what's the location here? Who are the people you're in this scenario? And what's your role? What are you doing there? And get a detailed feel of what the scenario is. And recall anything that's being said or you think will be said, the actions that are going on and reactions, and the details of the setting. And notice within yourself what thoughts are coming up, what emotions are being raised by this experience in response to what's happening. Then identify in your body where you're feeling these emotions. Then say no to them. Say no to those emotions and try and push them away. Just reject them. Just have nothing to do with them. Say, no, I don't want you here. Go away. Notice what's happening now. Notice what's happening in your body and your mind. And take a breath and just let this situation go. Just let it go away. Take another deep breath. And that completes this guided practice. So become aware of your feet on the floor, the chair you're sitting in. Just wiggle your fingers. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths. If your eyes are closed, open them when you're ready. And become aware of your environment. So let's move on and reflect on what that practice was for you. So, reflect on what it felt like to say no to the emotions and sensations in your scenario. And reflect on anything that lingered after you were trying to resist. And notice that resistance does not make things, feelings, sensations, etc. actually go away. And ultimately saying no to them doesn't really relieve them. It gives us maybe a temporary break, but the body still carries what we resist. Resistance denies the full experience of being human. It tends to limit what we can experience. And as we will see through practice, there's actually no need to push these feelings or thoughts or emotions away. They will pass of their own accord in their own time. That everything is transient and temporary. That we've no need to push them away. We've no need to cling on to them. In fact, we've not much need to do anything with them other than observe them and be with them in a patient and compassionate way. So that brings to a conclusion the first part of session 4. As we move into the second part, we'll be exploring these themes further. And I look forward to being with you for those sessions.